I was born in Martin, Tennessee, and I attended, of course, the old school for a little while, the old Weekly County School, and then I moved on to the new school when they built it for us. My time at Weekly County was a fun time. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. My teachers, I've never, and I've been in education for a while here in Tennessee, but I mean in Ohio, but I have never met anyone that really cared, any teacher that really cared like my teachers and my principals in Weekly County. I learned a lot. In fact, one thing I can tell you, when I started my nursing program, I had to do some chemistry and math and then a whole bit. And what Professor Connor had taught to us on how to do that came right back to me. And when I saw it, I said, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to be a nurse because you have to have chemistry and algebra and all of that. But when I sat down and read through it, it came right back. I could almost see his face.
Yeah.
And when I was a freshman, and we were doing algebra, Professor Connor was teaching, I think, the juniors, um, algebra or chemistry or something. And he called me in, and I found out what he was teaching them. He told me to work that problem that I gave you all this morning. And I went right ahead and worked it the way he showed me. And he said, now that's someone that's interested in what you're doing. And of course, they clapped. And my sisters teased me about it. But I think that had a lot to do with me uh, getting through nursing school because so many of us could not get through nursing school.
Right.
So that, so many of them couldn't because of math. And many times it was they just weren't as blessed as we were to have teachers that really cared.
Right.
I can tell you just a little bit about myself. I already always loved education, and I went through um, the LPN school in Union City, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
They took, I think it was 4 of us, blacks, and about 15 whites. And that was during Jim Crow time and the whole bit.
Mm-hmm.
But they let us in, and I studied real hard. And because I had married by that time, and I had 4 children, and I studied after I took care of them. So when we went to Nashville, I think it was Nashville, to take our boards for nursing, um, I just said a prayer and I came back home. We didn't know whether we passed or failed. We had to wait, and you get your results in the mail of your test as to whether you were going to be a nurse or not. They also do that in a registered nursing.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was they decided, I passed it. And when I saw my doctor, that my doctor for my kids and everything, he said, well, congratulations. You not only passed your test, you made the highest score down there. And I was shocked. No one ever to this day, except him, told me that I made a high score, but some of them I went over the board, and that was because of just loving education and wanting to succeed. And that comes back from Martin, Tennessee, and from us
Yes.
wanting to succeed because we knew our teachers and our parents wanted us to do so.
Right.
Now, I also, after I finished the LPN course, when I moved to Cleveland with my husband and children, I decided that I wanted to be a registered nurse. And so I went to a 2-year college, and I finished, and it was hard. They were really, they weren't real nice to us.
Yeah.
But we're talking about now in the 60s.
Yeah.
All stuck it out, most of us.
Mhm.
I think they wanted to weed some of us out because they said you're going to get 10 questions on this math test. And if you miss one of them, we cannot allow you into the program.
Mhm.
And what I had done was at night, they were giving a class for nursing students, and I went to it, and I studied that. And when they gave that test, and they meant it, we took the test. We had to pass all 10. And when I went into the room to get my results, she says, Rachel, you're okay. You passed all 10. And I said, thank you. And I saw, um, then I saw some of the girls crying. And I started crying because we had all wanted to go together and everything.
Yeah.
Semester.
Uh-huh.
Then I went on, I got through and I passed my boards for registered nurse. And then I said, well, I want to go a little further.
Uh-huh.
I had that push. So
Yeah.
I did go a little farther. So I went to the University of Akron,
Mhm.
and I got my bachelor's there. And then after that, I worked a little while more. I was working part time and full time. And then I decided I wanted to go a little further. So I met this professor, black professor, and she says, Rachel, do you want to be a nurse? Excuse me. Okay. Marcus? Okay, I'm going to turn this he can call later. Anyway, I said, she said, do you want to you want to get your master's? I said, oh yeah, but I don't think I can do that. She said, what do you mean? You can do anything you want to do. And so I said, well, yes. So I, by that time, was working in VA hospital. So they were paying some of the VA nurses for schooling. So I went and I applied and I passed the ACT test, and some of the nurses were crying because they couldn't pass the test. But I did, and then the school had a test because it was at Case Western Reserve, and they're big on name and all of that. And so I said, well, I prayed on it and I came through it, and I did pass both of the tests. And so she told me she already knew it because they knew it was a few of us blacks trying to get into the program. So she says, I'm going to put you in my class and I want you to study real hard. Well, I knew about studying, so I said, okay. So, so I did that, and she came to me about the second year at Case, and she told me, she says, I want you to be, um, I want you to be a clinical nurse specialist. I said, I can't carry all of those. She said, don't tell me what you can't do. You can do it.
Yeah.
Your grades are fine. You can do it. So what I didn't know was they were choosing some of the nurses. I didn't know that,
Mhm.
but some of them they decided to go further.
Yeah.
So she said, so I want you to go. And what happened was, I know that second semester, because at the time it was $500 credit, and it just about cleaned my little bank account out.
Uh-huh.
But VA had given us some money. And then she says, you have won a scholarship. I said,
Mhm.
really? She says, so
Uh-huh.
you're not gonna have to pay anymore. Your scholarship's gonna take care of your tuition. I said, my Lord, thank you, Jesus. And she said, okay. Yes.
Mhm.
Well, on the other part, Tara, was what I was doing was joining the nursing organization, and that's the
Mhm.
local and the national. And within the national organization was Congressman Lewis Stokes,
Mhm.
and he really, in fact, he thought he was a nurse, but he ran when he could, and joined the Congressional Black Caucus.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we would all go up there to the caucus. That's where we met the Clintons and all of those when they were
Mhm.
running. It was during that time.
Okay.
Right.
So I took my time, and in 1994, I ran for president of the local chapter, and
Uh-huh.
I won, so I was president. And at that time, he was doing Ohio Care. I know you guys remember Tennessee Care.
Right.
Well,
Yes.
many other states had them.
Right.
So
Right.
he came to Cleveland. But before he came, his assistant called me and she said, the congressman wants you to speak on Ohio Care. I said, what? I said, well, I don't know if I can do that. She said, Rachel, study presented and you can do it.
Right.
So I went to my mentor and my friend that got me in the case, and she talked to me, and her other friend who had her doctorate, they talked to me, and they gave me some notes that I might want to bring out.
Uh-huh.
And what I found out was all of the nurses in Cleveland, the presidents of the nursing organizations in Cleveland, were speaking. So it was about that he chose. It was about, I think it was about 10 of us lined up on that stage.
Yeah.
And when I said mine, they all just stood up and clapped and everything. And Congressman Stokes, shook my hand, and then they sent a letter of congratulations, for me doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, that next, I guess 7 or 8 months, they were still working with Ohio Care, and his secretary called me again, his assistant. She said, the congressman is coming, and this time Bill Clinton's gonna come by. And what Bill Clinton did, he didn't come in. He flew in his airplane over that, and
Uh,
they took a picture of him flying over, and then we could hear him like we are
yeah.
talking. And he said, told how important Ohio Care was and
Right.
all of that. And I did my speech again. By that time, I was a little, I
Yeah.
wasn't so shaky.
Yeah.
And because I tried to get out of it, I said, well, maybe the my vice president would do it. She said no. They want me. And when we had a meeting, I told them, I said, well, I asked if some of the board members are either the vice president, and they said no. Oh, they said, oh, that's okay, that's okay. So that's where we went. Now back to Weekly County Training School, and I was a cheerleader.
Okay. You sure did.
I got to tell this little story. But we would be there when it got time for the men to go out there to UT. Well, we wouldn't go home because we didn't want to miss that bus. So we stayed, but we were hungry. So they were cooking spaghetti, and we smelled it. So we was down there in the home ec room, and they said, look, you know, Miss Lula, So we had, what's his name? Theodore Farmer. We told Colin, Rachel, who else was? It was about 4 or 5 of us. Trotted down there and got some spaghetti. And we got back, and just when I was putting it in my mouth, we were hid over behind and trying to hide and eat it. Best man came in. He said, Rachel, Atkins. And the other ones were scooting and putting their food in the tray. He said, if you didn't have such a big mouth, I couldn't say anything. But I waited on Fiddle after he just turned around and left. And I said, Fiddle, why didn't you whistle or say something? Yes. And Fiddle said, who, me? I could. And I could get out there with Eileen. You remember Eileen Hart? Yeah. Of us would have a good time. We really did have a good time cheerleading and basketball. Oh my goodness. I did play basketball and I loved it. And I did win All-Star Ball. I wore it around till it started turning. Nice, and that just filled my heart.
So Rachel's impact on your life from Weekly County.
It's a big impact. And I'll say this because I had to believe in myself. Yeah. And that was one thing that they had us to do. Right. If you can do it, you can. If you want to, you can do it. And they talked to us about what we wanted to do in life, how we were going to do it. So all through my life, I remembered the things that I was told. I remember the Black history and the women that they celebrate now, but we celebrated them long years ago. Yes. In Black history. Right. And they just told how we as women, when I look at it on that point of view, what we could do and how we could go about doing it. And they told us you can do anything. Miss Irvin told us you can do anything. Well, I believe that. So when I came to Cleveland, I had that in my heart and in my mind that I wanted to be a nurse. I was going to be a nurse, and that I would be a good nurse. Right. And that's what I did. I worked as hard as I could. Right. I had my 4 children. I had kids, but I put that in them also. And that's another thing. My daughter is a nurse. Okay. My sisters, Linda and Catherine, my nephew and my niece, all of them, I talked to them and I told them, go into nursing if that's what you want. It pays you well and it's a very satisfying job. And even more people, my little student nurses, it impacts now in the local chapter, and that's the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses. My daughter and I teach.
All right.
And we teach study habits, and we teach how to take a test.
Great.
Then we teach how to prepare for a test, how to dress, how to talk, how to clamp your lips tight when you should, those type things. We taught to I don't want to blow my own horn, but they always would hug me and say, thank you, Miss Freeman. Thank you so much.
Yes.
But I did, and I do love nursing now, and I'm still busy. I'm the parliamentarian of the nursing, the local chapter here. And I did speak at the national chapter also. I spoke on AIDS. Remember when AIDS was just coming out?
Yes.
Well, I had studied up on that, and I was working in the hospital with it. Mm-hmm. So I spoke at the National Organization on AIDS. And so it impacted my life. It let me know that what I wanted to do, I could do. And I taught my daughter the same thing. And she's a nurse practitioner.
Right.
She went on. So I just had the one daughter and the 3 sons. And my husband has really always supported me. But I will never forget Weekly County. I can't because in my Bible class, my one of the teachers, one of the ministers, is from Milan, Tennessee. Came home with one of those shirts that said, where in the heck is Martin, Tennessee? And he just said that once we were traveling somewhere, and another person tapped me on my shoulder and said, he was a Caucasian. He said, I know where Martin, Tennessee is. That's where I was born. Good for you. We both were born there. And so it's a great place to be from. And I just know that the people that are there, the churches, and I just love to go to church in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And plays that we put on.
Oh, yes.
I never will forget Eugene Edwards. I was home one year. He says, Rachel, do you remember when you was Bubble Queen? I said, Bubble Queen? No. He said, Miss Henderson had you sit on a stool. They had just went for me. And he said, we had to waltz around you, and they were singing Blowing Bubbles. Those were just some of the things, that did. And I started laughing. I said, I do remember now. They said, I know you do. It's taught us to be like ladies. Make sure we acted like ladies as well as Johnny Bell. We had to sit right, talk right, not be loud.
That's right. That's right.
Those things stay with you.
Yeah.
It's to be, I think, better people.
You're absolutely.
And another thing, I felt loved.
Yes.
I think most other people, I know my family does. Yeah. But we just felt love. We knew those teachers loved us. Yes. We did.
Well, Rachel, I will see you.
Okay. Well, are we going to have this at the banquet?
Yes.
I have to cut so it'll be short stuff. But that's nice.
Yes. Jazz music is going to be.
And I thank you for this opportunity. Okay, I'm going to try.
Okay.